Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to an episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I am super excited to come to you today with another fresh new episode for your Wednesday. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you had a great week so far. Good start to the week if you're listening here real time. If you're listening down the road, well, whenever it is you're listening, good blessings to you. Hope you're doing well, having a good week, and just crushing out there. I know it's the grind. There's a lot of stuff happening this time of year. We're in the middle of summer. We're in the dog days of summer. We haven't really had a dog days of summer episode yet. Probably one of those be coming soon, I'm sure, because that's just what everybody's going through right now. But today we have none other than Kellen Moore on the show with us today from WFJ Lawncare all the way out in Washington. And Kellen's got a really cool business I want to hop into and hear some more about his story. Kellen has a story that's unique because he got into the business later in life than I have, than a lot of other guys have. A lot of guys, you start mowing grass in high school you go to college for a year or two and you drop out and you cut grass. Like that. That's the typical story. Or you don't ever even go to college and you just get into the lawn care industry. Well, Kellen has a different story than that, and I'm excited to hop into it because I don't even know all the details of it. So I want to hear that firsthand as well, just like all of you do as well. So, Kellen, welcome to the show today, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here, dude. It's really cool. We got to cut up a little bit before, and appreciate you being flexible. We had a later nighttime interview lined up because we both got kids. You both know how schedules work, and I was like, let's do it. And then kids and schedules, and you got to be flexible. And so got in. I was like, hey, can we move this to the morning? And so knocking this out first thing for you because you're 2 hours behind me. I'm Central, and the Eastern guys, you're even 3 hours behind them. So,
yeah.
6 a.m. your time, bright and early. You sound like you're up and at it, though. Are you an early riser?
It depends on the day. I try to be, but I think as you get older, you kind of your body just starts waking up earlier and earlier. So I'm getting there, man. I can wake up early if I have to, but I can also sleep in if I need to.
I got you. What is sleep into you? Like how like relative is sleeping? Okay.
8 o'clock is sleeping in. Like that's for me because most of the time the children are, they don't sleep any later than that. They're up bouncing off the walls. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Well, I tell you what, I want to just really hop in and dive into some good conversation today. It's been a minute since we've had a good guest interview on, and so I'm honored to have you on and just talk through your business, what you got going on, how you even got into it, and then what does your growth look like? Because you're only a couple years in now, and so you're in that pivotal 3 to 5 year mark, and that's where people see a lot of breakthrough, or you end up going downhill and end up closing down in the near future. It's just the hard, brutal, honest truth. Like a lot of people don't make it past 5 to 7 years, and so I want to walk through some of that, man. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, your age, if you don't mind, like what was your career, how you got into the lawn care industry, the green industry, and now how your company's growing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I originally, I never really mowed lawns. Like you said earlier, maybe you start in high school mowing lawns, or you start as a young kid mowing lawns, or even as a young kid mowing your own lawn, right? Like, I don't really recall ever even touching a mower, to be honest with you, when I was younger. I think my dad probably mowed the lawn or whatever, but I really could care less about mowing lawns at that, when I was younger. But how I really kind of got into it was I was working at our local hospital as a nursing assistant, kind of a dead end job. And I had a neighbor who was elderly, and she had just had knee surgery, and she said, hey, can you mow my lawn for me while I'm healing? I can't, I don't have anybody to help me out. And I said, yeah, no problem. I'll do that for you. And started mowing her lawn for her every week. And as I'm mowing the lawn, I'm just like, man, this is kind of cool. Like, I kind of like this. You know, I was like, I wonder if I can make money doing this. And so what I did was I went and bought a push mower and a string trimmer and just a little cheapo blower. And I don't remember exactly how I started trying to like pick people up, but maybe it was like Facebook or something like that, or maybe my wife was just, you know, advertising on local Facebook groups or whatever. And I didn't have a license or anything at this point. I was just trying to make some extra money. And so I picked up a couple yards, and while I was, you know, not working nights at the hospital on my days off, I'd go mow a yard here and there and make a little extra money. And got my business license. This was in 2015, mind you. I got my business license in 2016, and I wasn't ready. I just wasn't mentally there or prepared to really take on the business side of things. Like, I could mow a lawn, I could do the physical part of it, but the behind the scenes stuff, I don't think I was quite prepared for it yet. And so I ended up letting that business license lapse. I didn't renew it. I kind of, you know, I kept mowing the few lawns I had, but I wasn't really ready to make that push through to be like, okay, what do we really got to do to make this happen, for it to be more than just like, I'm just mowing a couple lawns here and there for extra cash. So kept working at the hospital. Fast forward to 2022, past all the COVID stuff, past all the crazy stuff. That was really crazy at the hospital, you know, all that stuff that we dealt with and as an employee. And
now I might have missed. What did you say you were doing at the hospital? What was your role there?
I was a nursing assistant.
Okay.
So basically, you know, answering call lights, helping patients in and out of bed. Yeah. You know, doing all that very basic stuff.
How did you get into that industry?
I got into that. My wife actually was, like a year after we got married. We got married in 2009, and about a year after we got married, she said, "Hey, you know, you're a compassionate guy. You know, you're good with people. Why don't you go to the local college and take the nursing assistant certification course?" And I was like, "What is that?" She told me about what it was, and so I went and took it. And I mean, I kind of fell in love with it. I really enjoyed it. I like to help people. I care about people. And so I was just naturally good at it. And that's kind of how I got into doing that. Basically, it was kind of on a whim. She was just like, "Hey, you should do this. You'd be good at it."
Yeah, so, that's cool. And you ended up having a pretty tenured career from it.
Yeah, I mean, I worked as a nursing assistant from 2010 to 2022. So yeah, about 12 years.
That's super cool, dude.
So,
well, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You don't really have. There's no real room for progression. Like, if you're going to be a CNA, most CNAs start that way. Then they move on to go to do nursing, which some people are like, "Hey, you should go be a nurse." I'm like, after what I've seen, I really don't want to be a nurse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so transition to 2022. I'm just not making enough money. My landlord, you know, he basically was like, "Hey, I need to raise the rent." And rather than incrementally raising it, like, you know, over time, like most landlords do, you know, over the years, maybe they raise $50 here, $50 there. He's like, "Hey, I want to raise your rent by $700. And I was like, "Whoa.
Holy cow.
That's quite a jump." He's like, "Yeah, well, we can do it over the, you know, $100 a month over the next 7 months." So I'm like, I got to do something. I can't, I was kind of put into the position where I had to make a move. You know what I mean? I had to pivot and shift real quick. So I said, okay, I got to, you know, talk to my wife, and I said, we got to do something different. I had a buddy who was a concrete finisher. He was working for a local excavation company. They offer excavation, concrete, a whole different gamut of services. And he said, "Hey, bro, come work for us. You know, you'll make a little more money. The boss is super flexible. He might even let you kind of start venturing out on your own to do your own, you know, to do your lawn care stuff, even while you're working with us." So yeah. Got the job, quit the hospital, started working for this excavation company, and my boss, his name's Peter, super cool guy, super just, he's a businessman, but he knows what it's like, you know, to be in business. And for guys who are trying to start a business, he's very flexible. And he would basically say, "Hey, Kellen, like, you got a project or something, just let me know. You take the day off and you go do your project." You know, he would let me take days off to go do my own thing while still working for him.
That's so cool.
So yeah, super cool guy, really helped me out, you know, sold me my first trailer for $1,000. Just really, really great guy. It was, it was all really being orchestrated by God. Like I was just watching all these things happen, and all this after a long time of praying and trying to figure out what to do, and all these things just started falling into place. And so worked for him from July 2022, into the winter. Things kind of get slow for them during the wintertime, just like us. They still work, but obviously it slows down. And going into the spring of 2023, it just exploded. Like I haven't worked for him since then. I haven't worked for him since March of 2023. And we basically just went full bore, like full time into Lawncare after that. So it's kind of been a blur. I mean, here we are already in July of, 2024, and it's been crazy. It's been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of late nights and early mornings, and but we're just chugging along, man.
So cool to hear. Such a unique story. One of the, I mean, I don't know that we've had a story like that on the show before. Go back to 23. So when you say it goes crazy, you get kicked off. Like, what does that spring rush look like for you? How does that even start? Where are you getting calls from? How's your name getting out there? Because before this, you were just doing little stuff on the side, it sounds like, right? Or did you have a maintenance schedule built up?
No, I was doing maybe 5 lawns on the side, like very, very minimal on the side work. How things really kind of took off was really Google, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like I just started asking people to like leave me reviews, and as they were leaving me reviews, reviews started climbing. I just started the phone just started blowing up, and I'm like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, how did you hear about us? Oh, I looked you up, and you popped up on Google. And so that really has been the main source. I mean, also, word of mouth, obviously, now that we're a couple of years in and we've got clients who are telling other people about us. But it was really Google that really helped us just kind of take off.
Wow.
Yeah.
71 Google reviews. I just looked you up. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I try my best to be, transparent with the clients and just say, hey, this is our, right now anyways, this is our main way of gaining clients. It's people finding us online, you know what I mean? And us popping up. So if you can leave us a review, that'd be awesome. What I'm noticing is, I guess maybe it's like the algorithm, if you got 5 stars and you have a lot of reviews, even if you're not paying for like those sponsored ads, you tend to still kind of pop up towards the top of the list.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful.
That's super cool. Yeah. Reviews right now, like I'm heading into a decent review push. That is one thing that I've got to get up. I've said it for a long time. Got to get it, and just never done it and never put the emphasis on it. Right now, that's actually something we're doing. I'm trying to collect between 5 and 10 a week, hopefully for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Just kind of reaching out to people that we've done past projects for, current lawn maintenance customers that I know they're happy with our service. And it's going to be a process for sure. We don't have hardly any. We have like 11 reviews. And so it's just not something that I've ever pushed hard enough. And I sent out probably 5 texts last week and got 2 reviews out of it. So it's like, it's not that hard. You just get you a little template built and send that template and then you can go, you can rock and roll. And so, that's kind of my main focus in the next little bit is focusing on getting reviews and getting that to climb up the ladder there. Hopefully we can increase the ranks on Google as well. So that's super cool. So you grew on Google, you start getting the calls coming in. What does that first year look like? Is it you on your own? Is it you and your wife? Is she working with you? Or you got buddies helping you? What does that whole process look like as far as labor goes? Are you killing yourself? You got 4 kids at home, so that's a full-time schedule as well. How did you navigate all that during that first year of growth?
Yeah, so I honestly, now that I have the help that I have, I look back and I say, I don't know how I did it.
How did I ever do it? Yeah.
I don't know how I did it. So, obviously I was solo that first year in 2022, from summertime kind of through December. I was doing a little mowing here and there, some projects and stuff. And it was mainly just me. I didn't have anybody helping me whatsoever. I didn't really get any kind of help up until last summer. I've got a young kid who he's a high school senior, and he kind of was like, "Hey, I'm trying to make some money, man. I'm trying to buy my first car." And I was like, "Okay, well, hey, man, I'd love to be able to have you come out and help me, and help me out here and do some projects and some mowing and stuff." So he started helping me out last summer, and I also had two other guys, two brothers who were helping me with maintenance last year. One guy's still helping out. He only helps out 1 day a week. He kind of has his own little side gig going, so I just take help from him when I can get it.
Yeah.
So I've got the young kid who helps me out, and then we just brought on another guy this spring. I think it was in April. We brought him on, and he's really stepped up, and he's just been a great help, great attention to detail. He helps, with the younger guys. Sometimes, younger guys can get, sometimes they need a little direction, so he's really good at just kind of helping keep him accountable on the job site and stuff. If I got to run and get materials, or if I got to run and go to an estimate or whatever, I feel like I can leave the guys and they can hold down the fort. So right now we currently have two guys that are pretty much full time. And then I got a couple other guys I can kind of draw from for projects and stuff if we need some extra help.
So cool. That help makes all the difference in the world. When you start getting that first employee in there, you just feel such relief. And so the young labor pool is awesome. How have you found, how are you working with that? Have you ran into any real challenges with having like a young labor pool, from immaturity to just growth? Like what are you seeing in that? Because I'm in the same boat. My labor pool has always been primarily like young guys. And so I know of the challenges that I've ran into. What have you faced in that? Yeah,
so with the young guys, it can definitely be hard. I mean, I don't know what it is with this younger generation. It just seems like they don't really want to do a whole lot of anything, to be honest. I mean, there's good guys out there, don't get me wrong, but they're a dime a dozen, hard to find. So the older of the crew, his name is Brendan. He's 35, so he's an older guy. He's got his head on his shoulders a little bit better. The younger guy, like I said, he's about 18. But yeah, the hard part for me has been finding people who are just diligent, who want to work hard, because we've tried a couple other young guys, and it's been, I mean, both of them, it was pretty tough. I mean, like, they just showed up, and it's almost like you had to babysit them, not like in the way like, hey, I'm showing you how to do this, and I just want to make sure you're doing it right. It was more like you had to keep them on task, like, wanting to be on the phone, or man, this was a really bad one. We had a guy come out and help us with maintenance one day. I just wanted to try him out, see how he would do. And, we're at the last property of the day. It was the first time mow. The grass was like 6 inches long. It was, kind of damp. It was horrible. It was just a really tough way to end the day. But we were like, hey, we just got to get this done. And this young guy, he kind of disappears. I'm like, where's this guy at? And I walk around the house, and Brendan's up front trimming, and Brendan's just staring at me, like, with this look on his face, like, oh my goodness. He points over to his right. I turn and look, and this kid's over at the neighbor's house shooting hoops. While we're cleaning up. No joke. So that's if I could encapsulate what is the struggle of the labor pool with the youth, that would be it right there. Mm. Like, it's just been, it's been difficult, but we've got a pretty solid core group of guys. Not a ton, but, a solid core group of guys right now. We all get along well. We all work well together. Everybody kind of knows what's expected, and we all hold each other accountable. That's one thing that I sat them all down and said, hey, we got to be holding each other accountable if we're going to be doing this work together, because I want to succeed. I want to see you guys succeed. I want us to all be able to be a good, solid team. And so a big part of that is just being accountable to each other. And, that's kind of a loaded answer, but yeah.
I totally get it. Totally agree. I think there's benefit to pulling from a young labor pool, because you get to train them and kind of teach them your ways without having to go through something that someone else has taught them, that you might not agree with.
Yeah.
But the immaturity aspect, you really have to be able to have patience and learn how to teach and grow, because the crazy thing is that kid shooting basketball probably didn't even think about it. He was like, I'm just going to go shoot. Like, it probably wasn't anything to him. And that's the issue because we've seen life, we've matured, whatever. You're like, that's not a thing. You go to work and you go to work, To him, it's like, well, I mean, I don't really feel like it. I'm just going to go over here and play for a minute. And so you have to kind of train that and teach that. And it's simple thing. It's common sense. Like there's a local radio show here that's kind of coined the phrase "common sense is a superpower," and I couldn't agree with that more, especially in this generation. Like it's just people don't have common sense anymore, and you have to learn how to teach that, how to show patience, and just be and really care, because a lot of the things that also go into having a young labor pool is you're dealing with kids that maybe didn't have the best home life. They weren't raised the way that you were raised. They don't have what you had, and you have to take that. And it's really cool because you can turn that into your own mission field. Like you can take that and really like mature young men, and that's where I see a lot of value in it. Is I'll bring these guys on and I'll work with them and I'll stick my neck out for them and I'll put everything I can into them. And has it bit me a couple times? Absolutely, it has. For the most part, though, I do see growth and I do see maturity happening. It takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but there is reward in that, in the fact that like you are serving a greater good. You are doing more than just cutting grass. You're also helping young men turn into men and mature along the way and become leaders of their households. And like when you hire an 18-year-old kid and he works with you for 6 years and then he gets a girl and gets married and has kids of their own at 26, 27, like that's super rewarding. And I haven't even reached that yet. But I know that if we stay on the track that we're on now and we keep this core group of guys that we have and we can continue to mature them and teach them and grow them, then we have that potential to actually see that and see them grow their lives out of our company. And it's super rewarding to see that like the work will pay off if you just you stay diligent. And I'm not saying don't run your company in the ground trying to save someone. I've also made that mistake. And you can't do that. You cannot save someone else. That it's their own decisions. They make their own decisions. You give them a first, second, and third chance, and then you got to let them go eventually at some point. And I'm kind of the pot calling the kettle black when it comes to that, because I've given too much leeway, too much rope sometimes. But it's really just like a heart thing. You have to know, like, what about the person are you trying to fix, trying to save, trying to change, And so apply that to your own situations. Don't get caught up in that. It's not a one size fits all statement. But I have seen that there is possibility to see young men grow and mature along the way when you start them out young.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see that even with the young guy that we've got working with us is from, last year up to this year, I'm seeing how he's maturing and seeing how he's grown, and it's true. Like, you don't know the home life. You don't know how they were raised. Some of them don't have the advantages that some of us had having, even having two parents in the home. So, I know that this young guy we've got, he's had some, home struggles and stuff like that. So he really enjoys being around us older guys. We joke and laugh and have a good time, and we're serious at the same time. We correct each other when we need to be corrected, kind of thing. And so, it's awesome to see.
Well, that's fantastic, dude. We could harp on that for another 30 minutes, but I want to be respectful of your time. So let's transition to 24 now. We've got your team in order. You got a young labor pool. What is your day-to-day looking like? What is your actual, like, how are you growing the business? How are you maturing yourself? And you're at such a cool stage where it's like you're in the field every day, but you're also trying to grow the company. So tell me a little bit more about that. What does that look like? How are you handling? And maybe like a struggle or two that you don't mind sharing that you're kind of working through right now.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of like on a day-to-day, right now we're mowing pretty much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are our mow days. And then Thursday through Saturday, we kind of keep that open for projects. So one of the struggles I think that I'm facing right now is just kind of, it's almost that point where we're transitioning from like being small to like things could just explode and get really big really quick. And to be completely honest, it terrifies me. Like it's exciting, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, what's the next step? What do I need to do now to really take this to the next level? So in the day-to-day, like having guys out on site, and then, like I said, me getting calls, having to stop and take calls, or, I got to go do an estimate or whatever. So what I'm finding is, and I've listened to you and a couple other guys kind of mention this, like you can't be in the field forever.
Yeah.
Like it's just the hard reality. You can't always be out there mowing lawns and being on the mower. Eventually you're going to have to get off the mower and be okay with it. And if I'm looking out into the future right now, I almost foresee that's kind of what 2025 is going to look like. I feel like if we can really get everything dialed in and get everything buttoned down like it needs to be in 2025, I probably will minimally be in the field. And that's kind of a sad thing for me, but also like an exciting thing. Because I love it. I love being out there. I love working hard and getting dirty and mowing lawns and being out there with the guys. Like that's where it all started, you know? So right now that's kind of what things are looking like. I'm being pulled more and more away from what's going on. With being in the field and trying to figure out how to balance that all, you know, and how to handle that. And also just like like I said, the business side of things, the stuff behind closed doors, you know, estimating and sending estimates out and categorize, you know, making sure things get categorized, making sure things are good for the bookkeeper. And there's just so much going on, you know, on top of the daily life of, you know, 4 children, having a wife, having a balanced family life. Honestly, I don't know what day of the week it is most of the time, and I'm so busy. But that's kind of what things are looking like. It's just really busy, but things are good. It's not to the point where I feel like I'm completely overwhelmed. But sometimes it is overwhelming, if that makes sense. It's all trying to balance everything. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is trying to really figure out how to balance everything, keep this train on the tracks so it doesn't go off the tracks. You know what I mean?
1,000,000%. And you use the word balance decent amount in that last 60 seconds to a minute there or 6 seconds to 2 minutes that you talked about that. What does balance look like to you? Because I found it hard to have a real work-life balance. Like, I don't know that that's a thing when it comes to owning your own company, especially when you're growing like this. So let's dissect balance a little bit, because I hear people talk about like they want this perfect work-life balance, like 50% work, 50% life. Like, guys, I'm sorry, unfortunately, that's not the case. You're not going to get that. Like that's not what comes with owning your own company and growing a legit business. You know, like you sacrifice things suffer, other things gain. If you don't mind, go into detail a little bit more about what that balance looks like. Like, how are you doing that? Because are you spending time early mornings, late nights on the business? Is it day to day because you're in the field? Like, especially when you're in the field all day, every day, that's when balance is so hard to figure out, because your time spent during the day that you could be like, you could spend your normal quote unquote work hours if you weren't in the field working on the business, you know, but when you're in the field, those quote unquote work hours, then your family hours or what would be considered family hours are now your work on the business hours. So like the balance there is really, really tough. And I don't know that it's going to it's not as easy as what people say. Let's just create a work-life balance. So tell me a little bit about your situation and kind of dive into that for a minute, if you don't mind. Like, how are you doing that? What are you doing that works for you guys?
Yeah. So really for me, I mean, in trying to create any type of real work-life balance is just, you mentioned you said sacrifice there, and that kind of caught my ear. It's sacrifice. Like, I have to sacrifice when I'm tired. Even though I'm tired, like, I still want to spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
I still want to spend time with my wife. So I'm going to sacrifice the fact that I want to go and lay down and go to sleep and spend time with them and hang out, you know, in the evening or whatever. So on the family side of things, it's just, if I want to have any kind of balance, I have to learn how to sacrifice, you know, the fact that I'm tired, but I'm gonna still hang out with my kids. I'm gonna hang out with my wife. I'm gonna, you know, push through that being tired, knowing like, hey, I want to be with my wife and kids, and they need me. They need time from their dad. My wife needs time from her husband. And then in the business side of things, trying to have the balance. Now it's very difficult. Like you said, being in the field all day, then how do you take care of the other parts of things? So really, yeah, it's late nights. It's, a lot of just being up late, you know what I mean? And sending out estimates and dealing with things, in the books and stuff like that. So, man, there's so much. And like I said, years ago when I kind of first got my business license, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared to do this. It would all just fallen apart real quick. But it's just taken some years for the Lord to really mature me. I just turned 39, so I'm getting up there, man. I'm almost over that hill. So, but it's just taken a little time for me to mature, and just again trying to find that balance is difficult, but it takes effort. It just takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of willpower. You got to be willing to not fail. Me and my wife talked about it the other day. By the grace of God, we're going to keep moving forward. No matter what challenges we face, we've come this far. We're not just going to throw our hands up and give up. If everything were to go wrong and everything were to fall apart and I gave everything I had, I could live with it. But if I don't give everything I have and I don't do everything I can and it falls apart, that wouldn't be acceptable.
That's good.
So
that's awesome, dude. There's not much more to add to that, I don't think. I mean, it is like you go to failure. Like you go, you give it everything you have. You don't let anything get in your way. And how have you and your wife kind of come to that realization together, gotten on that same wavelength of we do not fail? What does those conversations look like? Have you both been bought in? Have one of you been harder to get on board than the other? If you don't mind sharing some of that. And I'm about to let you go because I know you got to get your day started, but what does that aspect look like? Because hearing that you and your wife both are on that same page of we will not stop until we get to where we want to go. Super encouraging to hear. So how have you kind of gotten to that point? What are some key things that you've learned, maybe some advice you would give to the audience of if you have a spouse out there that you're trying to get on board, what do you do to work through that? Because you have a unique situation there that a lot of guys don't, where maybe it's some guys have the advantage of starting young before they have a family, they work through all that. They haven't had to go through getting their wife on board the same way that you have. And maybe that's not the case in your situation, but I'm saying you quit something to go full time into something that wasn't a guarantee to do it with kids. Yeah. And that's something that you have on your side now that you've pushed through. So share about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. That was difficult in the early stages. My wife, it was a little harder getting her fully on board. She was nervous about stuff. She was nervous about going full time. She was nervous about, stepping away from other employment to really pursue Lawncare as a business together. And so how we worked through that is a lot of communication. I mean, I know that's kind of a common answer is, hey, you got to communicate with your wife and with your husband, et cetera. But it's totally true. Just communicating, sitting down and talking about things and getting both sides of the coin. Here's what I have to say and here's what she has to say. And I really had to grow in that and just as giving advice to any other guys out there that are husbands and that, they're in this with their wives is humble yourself, be humble and listen to your wife. You know what I mean? Your wife can have some valuable things to say and have another, a perspective that maybe you don't see. And I know my wife has, that she, we've been talking about getting a new rig and, she's brought me back down to earth on some things, regarding certain trucks I've been looking at or whatever. And she's like, okay, well, did you consider this? Or did you consider this? And, me being a guy and looking at a truck, man, that truck's nice. I like that truck. I could see myself in that truck, but I'm not looking at it from all different angles like she is maybe. And so just communicating with your spouse, valuing what they have to say, humbling yourself and listening, can go a really long way. And that's what I'm learning. It took a little while for us to both get on the same page, and there's some things where we're still working it out, but, we're way farther along than we were a year ago together as a husband and wife. And, just going through, sitting down together, talking, and just really communicating with each other. And transparency is huge. So you really can't go wrong if you do those things. If you communicate and just keep that line of communication wide open, everything will work out. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say as a piece of advice to any of the guys listening is just value what your wife says, listen, communicate, and be humble.
Communication is the key to everything, dude. I've talked about that so many times on this show. Like I truly think that it has been one of the biggest things that's helped Savannah and I grow the company and just kind of get on the same page. We're still very, very early on in the growth phase, but like we've just been able to come together and know, hey, this is what we have to do it. And we've talked through all these. We've had many, many, many conversations about it. And I believe that's what's really helped us grow to this point and have a clear vision and a future for where we want to go in the future. So, well,
yeah, I love your guys' Marriage Mondays. By the way, I listened to the episode yesterday, and your guys is like the chemistry between you guys is pretty obvious. Like you guys are pretty in tune and dialed in with each other, and it's encouraging. It was good to listen to.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It means the world that we get to do it for real. Like we enjoy it. It's something that it kind of just evolved and it's turned into something really fun that we enjoy doing now. So I'm glad that it helps. I hope it helps some of you out there who have spouses that are in the that you're in the industry and maybe they're not, and helps you just work through some of that stuff, because I know it's not easy. Just clarifying and communicating, like we talked about here. If you can't communicate clearly and your spouse isn't in the company, then you got a lot of stuff coming for you. Just try to stay on top of that. If you, especially maybe you're not even in that situation yet, but this is what you do to get to that situation. So, well, Kellen, I super appreciate your time, man. I think we unpacked some really, really good stuff, brought a lot of value to the listeners today. And that's what the show is about, is helping people grow their companies, their business, their life, and seeing real change come into their family. And so I think you've helped do that today. I really appreciate your time. Share with everybody, where can they follow along with you if they want to keep up with you, see what you got going on out in Washington, and maybe we'll get you back here on the show in the next couple months and do an update probably spring of next year sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on Instagram and Facebook, just WFJ Lawncare. Those are pretty much the two platforms that we're on for social media.
Awesome, dude. Well, there you go, guys. If you want to follow Kellen, go check him out there. Check out what he's got going on in his business. Remember, like you said, get reviews. Get reviews in your company. That's what literally grew his company in a matter of a couple months. And so you can see it's working out for him, and I'm excited to see where your company goes in the next couple years, dude. It's going to be awesome to see. So you're a long way away. Do you think you'll ever make it to a Quip or a trade show out here on the East Coast anytime soon?
I sure hope so. I've been, listening to some of the podcasts and hearing you guys talk about it. And it's always, every time I hear it come up, I'm like, man, that'd be nice to go. So it's definitely something I would love to do, especially with my wife. I think what Brian does is Together in the Trades.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, we head out on that in about 2 days. So that's going to be a fun trip.
Yeah, maybe the next one, me and my wife will make it too. But yeah, I would definitely love to come out to something like that. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time today. The listeners appreciate it. It couldn't have gone any better than it did, I believe. And we had a really great time just cutting it up and chatting today. So guys, thank you for tuning in. It means the world that we get to do this 3 times a week. I truly mean it when I say that. If you are going to make it to Equip, then you can use code GG50 and get in for $15 there. Kellen, come on, make the trip out. You can be there in October. It's a fun trip. It's worth it. Honestly, it's a crazy value for $15. Like, it really is. Really, just because the community you get to be around, the people you get to meet, hang out with, shake hands with, people that you don't really see, but only once or twice a year, are all at these events. And so it's really cool to just network, hang out, and have a good time there. And so I'm looking forward to it, seeing everybody in Louisville, Kentucky there. Trades is around the corner. We literally head out in probably right about 24 hours after this thing drops. So not far away at all, and I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to a little bit of rest and relaxation, a little bit of recovery there. So I'm excited for it, and thank you all for supporting the show. It means the world that we get to do it. So, Kellen, thank you for your time today, buddy. I appreciate it, and thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the show. It means the world. And without any further ado, that's going to wrap this one up. And we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.